Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired chef from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest video. In this one I'll be making this very simple to do jam and sponge pudding. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on my website. I'll leave links at the end and under the video, or just click on the eye icon top right of the screen. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a quick shout out to this week's Patreon and PayPal donators, and they are Denison Mary Tyso, Seri Old, Annette Richter, G.E. Holflinger, Jerry Farnham, Kevin Brooks and Grandpa Podge. Thank you so much guys, it really does help the channel. Right, this is the pudding bowl I'll be using for this dish. And to give you an idea of the size it needs to be for this recipe, here's all the dimensions. And they're also on screen in imperial and metric. And if you haven't got one like mine, here's a couple of examples of other types of bowls you could use. This particular white basin is very popular for this kind of dessert. I'll also be using it in a future video when I get round to doing my steak and kidney pudding video. And the first job is to grease and flour the bowl. I'm using lard to grease mine, but you can use butter, oil or shortening. Whatever jam you're using, get it into the bowl and place the bowl in the freezer for at least 15 minutes. This is to harden the jam a little before pouring in the batter. The jam I'm using in the video is homemade. If you want to know how I made it, check out my homemade strawberry jam video. I'll leave a link in the description box below this video. Make sure the bowl is sitting level in the freezer, otherwise the jam will set at an angle. Time to preheat the oven to 170 degrees Celsius, that's 338 Fahrenheit or gas mark 4. I'm setting mine to 150 Celsius as my oven's fan assisted and it runs about 20 degrees hotter than indicated on the dial. Now I've had several inquiries on what I mean by a fan assisted oven. All it means is when the fan is running inside the oven, the temperature rises on average by 20 degrees Celsius. That's 68 Fahrenheit. That's the rules in the UK anyway. Check your oven's manual if you live outside the UK. Start by whisking up the 3 large eggs. You can use a hand or a stand mixer to do this part if you wish. Now add the oil followed by the vanilla extract and whisk those up too. If you want to see how I make this extract, I'll leave a link in the description box below to the video. Time to add the sugar. Now mix that in too. This really is a very simple sponge to make. Sift in the flour, salt and baking powder. This adds a little air to the mix. And like the caption says, if you're using all-purpose or plain flour, make sure you add an extra 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Those little lumps you see is baking powder. Just push them through with your fingers. Now give that a whisk until you have a smooth, lump-free batter. Once it's nice and smooth, get the bowl with the jam in out of the freezer and carefully transfer the batter to it. Try not to get any on the sides of the bowl. Because this bowl has a narrow base, I'll be baking mine on this little baking tin. Now give the bowl a couple of light taps to remove any of the larger air bubbles. Once it's in the preheated oven, I'll set the timer for 50 minutes. Right, when there's only a couple of minutes left on the timer, I'll heat up the custard because this dessert is best served hot straight from the oven. And once again, I'm going to use this carton of custard. I believe the equivalent product for this custard in the USA is called vanilla pudding. If you want to make the custard by hand from scratch, check out my homemade egg and vanilla custard video. A link to that one will also be down in the description box. Once the time's up, I'll check the cake with the cocktail stick. If it comes out clean, it's done. And mine is, so out it comes. Now if your cake has a large dome on it, just carefully slice it off level with the top of the tin. Mine's sticking up a bit, but I think I'll get away with it. Once it's on the plate, very carefully turn it upside down. Now all you have to do is lift the tin off the cake. The best way to do this, as these tins are very hot and difficult to grip, is to use a suction cup of some description. I'm using this little tool. It's meant for holding halogen light bulbs, but it works great for this. However you do it, be careful because the jam is still extremely hot. And doesn't that look fantastic? Once the sponge is out, carefully scrape out any jam that's left inside the tin. Right, all I've got to do now is cut a slice off and get some of that custard on and give it a try. And like I said earlier, I'm using homemade strawberry jam for this one, but you can use any flavour you like. Even marmalade can be used in this very easy recipe. And just as I knew, it's a fantastic dessert. It's soft, light and delicious, and this is another recipe that takes me back to my school days. I hope you try this. It's quick, simple and delicious, and it uses basic ingredients most people will have around the kitchen. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video, and when you try it, I'm sure you'll give it a thumbs up too. And once again, please help support the channel by joining my Patreon appeal for as little as $2 per month, or make a one-off donation via my PayPal page. It really will help keep the channel going. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in the kitchen and bye for now.